Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Venue View Live. With me today, I have the amazing Dan Gil from the Dine Group. Before we get started, I'm just going to give you a very quick overview of what Venue View Live is and the reason that we're doing it. So Venue View Live is our way of saying thank you to all of the businesses that we've worked with over the last couple of years, particularly in and around the hospitality sector. We know that the last 6 to 9 months have been quite difficult. So we've set up Venue View Live as a way of people being able to showcase their business, to get it out there on some of these live streams so people can see what they're all about and hopefully maybe use their services in the future. So today, as I said, we've got Dan Gil from Dine. So Dan, just give us a very quick insider's view about the last 6 to 9 months and how it's been for you and the hospitality industry in general.
Well, Keith, I mean, we've had a really interesting summer, and what struck me actually more than anything else, really, because there's always a point taking a positive out of something, generally not much point taking negative. Really struck me as the resilience of our clients and the suppliers that we work with. So our clients have been incredibly understanding. They've wanted to really focus on, okay, when can I move my celebration to? And actually, considering the challenges we've faced across all our venues and the hundreds of clients that we've worked with to make sure we've come up with solutions that actually look good to them. So not just acceptable, not just to sort of, oh, this is a disaster, let's just go for sort of, the least worst case. Actually, it's about giving them something to look forward to that feels really good to them. And actually, on the whole, yes, has it been easy? No, but actually, do we have a set of happy clients now? Yes, we do. And are we looking forward to getting cracking next spring? Yes, we certainly are.
So for those people that maybe haven't heard of Dine, just give everyone a quick overview of the group and the venues that you have.
So Dine, we are lucky to work in some fantastic venues. Some we lease, one we own, some we have straightforward contracts for. And we have quite an unusual expertise as a company in that my background, I worked in London in some very sensitive venues, everything from the History Museum to Sir John Soane's Museum. And it was all about actually, okay, these places need a revenue stream, but it has to be something that's sympathetic to the venue, to the fabric of the venue. And you have to have an understanding. It's like any job. Actually, people have a much deeper understanding of all the parameters of what they're doing to make it really successful. Mm-hmm. Once you understand that in detail, you can then understand automatically what you can do for clients once you've heard their brief to make it really a sort of one-off fantastic event in these marvelous spaces. So Dine's got that kind of expertise. We do the marketing, as you know, a lot of your help this year, and we also do everything from marketing through to execution. So the person that speaks to the clients from day one will also be the person that runs the event. And that's really important because it means that we can measure all the different things that client wants to achieve and make sure they're delivered in line with what's achievable out of that venue.
Okay. So with regards to USPs or the ethos that you have at Dine, how would you sort of convey what it is that you're trying to do with the group?
Well, look, I mean, our tagline is make every event special, and it's pretty simple. It means that you come to me, you're having an event or a celebration for a particular reason, and people always have pictures in their brains of what they think something's going to look like. So uncovering, the tick box kind of exercise, understanding what the practicalities are that somebody wants to achieve is relatively straightforward, as long as you've got somebody handling their event that has the right expertise to ask the right questions. Actually, the bigger trick and the more important one is to really take time to get an understanding of what they've got behind that. With a company, it might just be brand values and actually what they expect to see and what they really don't want the chairman to find on the day. And what their clients and why their clients buy their products. It sounds stupid. Why would a caterer or a venue manager be asking that? Well, you come and pay me £10,000, and the only way I can deliver value is to actually really properly understand what it is you're trying to do. And it's almost certainly not about just giving people food and drink. There's a reason for the event. Same with weddings. So it's actually a matter of understanding what the couple want to place value on. Mm-hmm. Some people, it is very much about the food, and they want to have an extra course and they want to have wine butlers or whatever. A lot of people, actually, it's about the party and it's about how their friends are greeted when they arrive. So the USP, making every event special, means understand what it is that each client wants to see and wants to actually remember from the day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we're talking about what people are expecting to see. I think that's probably a good segue into into actually looking at what your venues look like. Let's have a quick look at that. So we're going to go step down into the first of the venues that we're going to be showcasing today. So that's Howsham Hall in York. So just want to give people a whistle-stop tour of Howsham Hall with regards to its background and how you came to be running events in this magnificent building.
Yeah, I mean, look, actually, this particular beautiful location came to us via some work we were doing with Savills, some consultancy work, and actually, this is owned by a gentleman who, as with any of these buildings, put an enormous amount of time and care and love into a project, and really needs to find a use for it that means that it's sympathetic, but also that actually somebody's paying the bills. So somewhere like this will easily cost us £250,000 a year to keep in good condition. Everything from the basics you'd expect through to looking at actually, have we polished that marble fireplace properly? How does the lighting work? Have we, can we set the scene in this room? So we put a lot of emphasis into, okay, well, how does this look and feel as people arrive the night before their event or on their wedding day? Everything has to work. So the fact this is a 500-year-old building doesn't mean that we will accept any compromise in the experience for clients. We still have to have sort of ultra-fast broadband throughout. At Howsham, we've achieved that via an aerial on the roof because it's so rural.
Mm-hmm.
But really, Howsham is a 500-year-old building, as I say, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful spot. And it's actually pretty notable in the sense that all the rooms work incredibly well. So as you come in, you get that fantastic, authentic hit of what you'd expect a building like this to look like. But you can see on the video now how light it is.
Yeah.
So actually, contrary to equally as the fittings and the interiors look how you might want them to look, very often people comment on how nice and bright it is, and that is a great feature at Howsham. It is all windows, and it just makes such a beautiful setting. Equally, the accommodation is fantastic, and the whole building works well. So there's a beautiful room for the dinner and events. Well, there's two different options in the main, and then equally at the back of the building, there's fantastic facilities for the bar, for dancing. So nothing's compromised. Mm-hmm. That's quite unusual in a building of that age. And you can see here this great old pad. You've got a fantastic pool table. And just a great place to hang out, particularly the night before a wedding.
So what's your mix then? You mentioned weddings there. I know that the first room that we went into is set up for a celebration. So with regards to the mix, is it mainly weddings, or do you have corporate meetings there as well?
It is actually you use the word mix, and it is a really good mix, and actually it needs to be with these places. So we would hope to have around 30 weddings a year at Howsham. That's always been the business plan. Clearly this year sadly hasn't been the case. Next year it will be at full capacity pretty much. But there's also we've had corporate retreats here. So where you might have a board, because this is 20 minutes outside York, so really good for boards that have national sort of unit managers and they just want to get away 2 or 3 days. There's a beautiful boardroom at Howsham, 12 fantastic bedrooms, so it works really well for that. Filming as well. So Howsham's been hired more than once by film companies, obviously a spectacular backdrop. It is all set in 90 acres. So particularly at the moment, it's a very secure environment. You don't have any public wandering around, so the guests you invite can ultimately be quite reassured that they're in total privacy. Mm-hmm. And certainly at the moment, we've had a couple of people hire it because they know that it is capable of being entirely safe.
So with regards to sort of most interesting events, what are the most interesting events you've had at Howsham?
Oh, I've got a few favourites. To be fair, I think one of the most romantic was a wedding for 2 we did last year. And even though you might think, okay, well, wedding for 2, actually it was so lovely because the couple got exactly what they wanted. They had an amazing day, and just to sort of wake up at Howsham, I would imagine, get prepared in total peace, have the wedding and then enjoy the day and dinner, just the two of you, obviously private butler service and an event manager. It's probably got to be one of the ultimate ways of marking your wedding day, really. God, I think my other favourite, well, this year has been looking after a VIP who was there for 2 months. So they weren't doing filming in this case at Howsham, but they were filming at another location. Mm-hmm. So just understanding what these people want and actually, how they expect things to be, and making sure we look after all of that has been really, really interesting this summer.
Well, talking about what people want, I can't imagine anybody's ever had a bad word to say about this. Is this the bridal suite that we're just stepping into now?
We take on these buildings, and they're not the easiest way to earn a living. But if you look at pictures like this, you can understand why you actually want to work in these buildings.
Yeah.
I've been in that room mending lamps, shaking rugs, working out why something wasn't necessarily right, making sure it is always perfect when people turn up. And actually, what a fantastic place to be. If I go to Howsham for a day or so to meet with my team, I always leave with a job list as long as you're on, but I always leave feeling happier, because it's just, look at it.
Yeah. Beautiful. As a bathroom, I've been out and captured lots of sites, and as a bathroom, I think that is the most impressive bathroom I've ever been in. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it is. You wake up on the day of your wedding or the day after your wedding, and that's the setting you've got. That's the kind of thing that creates memories. Mm-hmm. And really, that's what we're all about.
Yeah. I imagine from a photographer's perspective, they love to meet bride and grooms out there, because there's just going to be so many places to get that perfect picture.
Yeah, and listen, absolutely. And again, the light at Howsham is fantastic. It's on the River Durrant, so it has some beautiful, beautiful shots that can be captured, but all in a very comfortable environment. So to us, it's very important that on somebody's wedding day, our job as event managers is to make sure it feels as relaxed as it can be, and that it flows naturally. Mm-hmm. What we don't want is people feeling like there's a production going on. Mm-hmm. Our job is to make sure that they're in a position to capture the right photos, that they're in a position to have the right experience, but that ultimately they have a nice day.
Fantastic. Well, we're just moving across Yorkshire now to Rise Hall. So again, another building with a real history behind it.
Yeah. Rise, what a place. So this is a 96-room stately home, East Yorkshire, 30 acres of grounds, very, very close to the East Coast, which is just beautiful. And actually, Rise is very much one of these places where you get this beautiful progression from the key rooms at the front. That library, look at the library. This is the reason that I was allowed to buy this, because my wife saw the library and really liked it. So that's why I was allowed to buy it. But ultimately, Rise's history, like a lot of these buildings, they go from, actually, Rise had a very brief period of being a fully lived-in private house, relatively, in its history. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that after that, it became intermittently used, then came into use last century as a convent school. And it was really only in the 90s, I believe, when Sarah Beanie and her husband bought it. Mm-hmm. 2010, spinning on a long way. We got involved with Sarah and Graham. We met them at a wedding we catered for in Lincolnshire, and they asked us to come and help sort of launch Rise. Mm-hmm. And we had a great time. They've eventually, anybody who might track Sarah and Graham's career, are now in Somerset. So at that point, they were looking for a buyer, and we actually bought Rise off them last May. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But again, what a beautiful room.
So the room that we're in at the minute, Dan, is this is this where the majority of your wedding ceremonies would take place, or can they be held in other parts of the building as well?
Yeah, so there are 4 licensed areas, I believe, at Rise, and they range from, I think you can get married in the library. I'm pretty sure you can. I'll probably get told off after this. And then the other thing at Rise is it's got a huge orangery at the back. So you can get an unusual number of guests married there, something over 200. The rooms we've just been in, you can comfortably get over 80 people. in there, and again, beautiful. So it's all looking out to the south-facing gardens. Just it's so flexible, but it's just a great backdrop.
So this room that we're in now, this is a really unusual room, isn't it? Has this got different uses? Do you typically see other purposes for this room?
Well, okay, so this is called the gallery. Sarah and Graham made sure it was put back as a gallery, and you can just see the upper deck there. So in Victorian times, the upper gallery was very heavily festooned with lots of artwork, lots of soft furnishings, and we leave little books around the house of what the rooms used to look like. And it's always interesting to see that. But for me, the gallery is a beautiful transition space between the sort of more formal rooms at the front of the house where people might get married, where they might have the drinks reception, through to the other side of the house where it becomes a party time. Frankly.
Do you ever get it used actually as a gallery, Dan? Do people ever actually use it to display artwork?
So we have spoken to a couple of people this year about whether they would be interested in hanging artwork there. You know, commercially it's difficult, of course. Our footfall is very specific. You know, we don't have public footfall, so we would like to actually have more artwork in there. And we're negotiating with Sarah and Graham to see what they might be prepared to leave us. But you know, it's just a really unusually clean space.
Yeah, very much so. And we're now just heading down the corridor to this is your largest space, I believe. Well, not this part. Is this the pub? Yeah, this is the pub. Yeah, complete with oak panelling. So that's Jacobean oak panelling in there. Yeah, anybody's interested. It's such a nice space, you know, such a nice room, you know, in the middle of that building. It's just quite a nice, relaxing place to fall back to when you've left this, which is a huge space just through here, isn't it? Your largest space. So, I mean, this is what it's all about to me. Actually, if you hire a venue like this, there shouldn't be compromise. You shouldn't have to move things around or wait whilst the rooms you know, reset or actually have to limit the number of guests too much. So that's what I've always loved about Rise, is the fact that you've got that real impact. It's what people expect to walk into if they've hired a stately home for an event. But actually there are no compromises. You have your drinks. As the day progresses, you walk through. It's all bordering the south-facing gardens. And in this room, as you can see, it's just a fantastic space. You know, this works incredibly well. We had a corporate event in here last November, so fully lit, entertainers, performers. Actually, the last event we did just before March was a corporate event, and they had a circus, sort of mini circus set up in here. Wow. So, you know, it's just so flexible for a venue of this kind. It's incredible. So when you have those large corporate events, and I know the answer to this because we're going to be heading down to it now, but there is accommodation for people should they need it as well. Yeah. So Rise, again, on this point of no compromise, this is the butler's pantry, where if people want to sort of create sort of less formal meals for themselves, perhaps the day before their event, or if they've got crew or staff, this is a great place for them to have meals and use a sort of what you call an outmess, really. But it's a great facility, and all of this is part of the being no compromise. You know, to me, I'm not going to sell a solution to my clients if actually I know it only fits 80% of what they want. It needs to be 100%. It needs to tick every box, and it needs to really create a wow factor for people when they invite their guests. So Rise had 29 rooms when we bought it. We've created another 2, and we spent a lot of money upgrading some of the rooms. They were nice to start with, but for me, just because it's a stately home, as I said at Howsham, I don't expect compromise. I don't expect to find the Wi-Fi doesn't work. I don't expect to find there's no shower. This room we actually created in last May, and this beautiful bridal suite. Absolutely, this was actually an empty space. So we got this done in 3 weeks because we just wanted to really create one definitive room for clients. Now this, you'll see the plaster work around the borders here. This is some fantastic, beautiful plaster work, and again, that's what the room should be like in these places. We want your guests, because we know we look after the host invite the guests, and we want their guests to wander into a bedroom that actually not only has all the amenities you'd expect and is comfortable, but also hopefully gives them a little sort of mini wow factor when they've arrived. And every single room is unique, isn't it? Every single room is different to the last.
Yes, they are, which sometimes is, well, which almost always is a good thing, but sometimes it's downright confusing, even when you're working there. So, yeah.
So, and I guess every single bride, must love walking down that staircase. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, again, those are the moments that really that's the sort of thing that you want people to have, and that it's just so natural, but actually creates a memory, creates those beautiful photographs.
Mm-hmm.
And again, in that area at Rise, you've got the space for everybody to be at the bottom of that staircase, and it just feels so natural. And I think it's really important. The last thing we want to do is to have to pre-manage how many people are in there and ask people to shuffle along. And so by the time you're doing that, actually, you're kind of diluting the pleasure that people are having.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about finding the layout that works and that will work for that client,
mm-hmm.
and making sure that everything just goes really well.
So what next for Dine then? Obviously, we can see Dine Delivered behind you on the banner there. Are you looking ahead now to 2021?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have been the whole year, and we have very little choice really. But I mean, for us, it's about. I mean, my team's so energetic, so it's been about okay. Well, at Rise, I called you pretty much as soon as lockdown, happened, and we knew it was going to go on for the whole summer. Ultimately, we've rewritten menus, we've relaunched the website, we've done a lot of work at all the venues in making sure things are improved. We've been working with clients in the background, not only just to rearrange the dates, but also to make sure we talk about the more pleasurable things, what menus they want, actually all the sort of fine detail that goes into making sure the day is spot on. And Dine Delivered is something we launched 3 years ago, has really come into its own this year, as you can imagine. We've had to stop taking orders in December now because we are full, which is great, although frustrating, but it's just a fact. So yeah, we're working with a lot of companies to do virtual events, a lot of partners. So working with partners at the moment has been fantastic. It's everything from sort of virtual cocktail masterclasses through to full-on live streamed events that replace. We're planning one for over 1,000 people next spring. But it's not just about the food, it's about us being able to send out all the event collateral, really engage with the logistics on behalf of the client to make sure the whole thing fits together and actually is a really good experience, so it doesn't feel like a sort of second best. It's just a very, very good alternative.
Great. So if people are interested in either Rise Hall or Howsham Hall or any of your other services, how would they find out more?
Well, I would say best place is dine.co.uk. So dine.co.uk. Go there. It's very clear. Follow the navigation. Phone numbers are on the web page there, and also live chats. The live chat is pretty much manned 7 days a week. So any questions you've got, you can even book a viewing online, and of course take advantage of the fantastic virtual viewings as well.
Fantastic. Well, Dan, thanks so much for being on today. You've been amazing, and we wish you all the very best for December in 2021.
Thanks, Keith. Fantastic.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Dan. Bye now.